Welcome!
Hello.
I don't know why I said it like that. Welcome back to
Fine.
episode 4 of
Yeah.
the Jolly Podcast.
Hi.
Hi everyone,
Welcome
how you
back.
doing? Hope you're welcome. I haven't told
good.
anyone in this house that we're recording already, but I'm sure they won't
That's
disturb
fine, no
us,
one's gonna
so
know.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
How you been?
I'm good.
Good.
I got a haircut.
I can tell.
Yeah.
I was going to comment on it, but then I forgot.
That's fine.
I haven't had my hair
I think I feel like if people don't comment on it, it's not a terrible thing. Because I get a very consistent haircut, like every time.
Yeah, same
Exactly the same thing.
You're like,
And then I leave it like 3 months, and I cut it off again.
fair.
Yeah.
I used to remember when you had like the Lego haircut.
Yeah, I did.
In like
Like
year 7.
surfer dude.
And
shoulder
it'd be,
length.
Like, swooping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
I
good.
look good.
That was a good haircut.
Oh yeah. Well,
Always looked like you could
here we
just
are.
like take it off.
Should we talk about your previous haircuts or?
No.
No, I don't think we
No,
should.
We shouldn't.
Anyway.
Anyways, I hope everyone's been good.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about splitting the bill.
Splitting the bill.
Yeah. Awkward one, always. Bit of a touchy subject. I
Yeah,
think.
bit of a touchy subject if you're on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. What's
Like-
your stance?
My stance.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got to talk about the situations that you're in first because
Okay.
it depends. Like,
Okay.
I think if you're just out with friends,
Yeah.
right? Unless you have like a pre-arranged agreement, like unless you've decided, oh, I'm paying for this week, someone's paying for next week, someone's paying the week after. Like, unless it's like a regular thing, just pay for what you've had.
Yeah.
Like whatever you've ordered, you're paying for it. And then if it's like a situation where you haven't seen someone for ages and you want to pay for them, that's just a bonus for that person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They don't have to feel obliged
Exactly.
to pay you back.
Exactly. If it's like,
No.
you know what, this is my treat. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. You're a good
That's-
friend. I'm happy about it.
Yeah.
Job done.
When I pay for someone, I don't do it in the, you've
Like-
got me next time. It's
Yeah,
actually, no, I just want to pay.
It's like a... Here.
Like, my sister and her boyfriend ate out with us once. And because we'd taken them to a fairly, like, expensive
Yeah.
sushi place, I just paid. I was like, it's on us.
Yeah, my treat.
And you guys are uni students.
Yeah.
So don't worry
Yeah,
about
just
it.
stuff like that. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's nice.
And then,
But I
yeah.
think also like the same thing applies where if it's easier for one of you to just pay and then you split it later,
Yeah. That's
same thing.
fair.
Like as long as you work it out, like that's fine.
See, mine is I think it's that I don't really care what people have got. I just tend to split it 50-50. Like
50-50.
I just look at
Dodgy.
the thing. Obviously, if someone's... So, I go out with 2 friends
Mm-hmm.
from my old job, and me and one of them drink and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
So, what we tend to do is she adds up her
That
stuff,
stuff. Yeah.
and then the 2 of us that like shared a
Split the
bottle of
rest.
wine or whatever
Yeah.
will then split the bill.
Yeah. That's reasonable.
Because it's not
I mean,
fair.
we've been out before
Yeah.
where I've had like a main meal and a dessert, and I don't drink, so I've just had water.
Yeah.
And then you've had like cocktails
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
other stuff.
And
it's
then I
like,
would never expect you to pay the
Yeah.
same amount as I have.
Yeah.
But I guess where it comes from is like my flatmate
Mm-hmm.
and then like another girl we hang out with. The 3 of us will have like pretty much around the same amount of...
If you're matching each
Yeah,
other,
so
like
then,
drink for drink,
then I'm like,
it's
oh,
fine.
I don't care that your cocktail was £9 and mine was £8, and then
It's
you had a
just
£10
whatever.
one and I had an £11. Like, I'm sure it would work out, so I don't care that we've split
It's
it.
all like it's also like some people treat money differently depending on how much you make, how much
Yeah.
other people make. Like, you know, if I feel like again, we always come back to a communication thing. It's always communication. Like if you're talking to your friends loads and you're really good friends with these people and you know what sort of situation they're in financially, you can always like tune it to that.
Yeah.
Like if you know they're struggling, you don't have to be like, oh, let's just split it evenly if it's not even. Do
Yeah,
you know
I'd
what
be
I mean?
like, how do you want to split
Exactly.
the bill? Because that's, people ask me and I'll be like, oh, I'm happy to do 50-50. But if they
Yeah.
then turn around and went, actually, that's fine, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it is that I've had more and then I wouldn't expect the person to
Yeah.
pay more. But what about on a date scenario?
I feel like it depends. But from my perspective, I will happily pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See.
Unless, like, you know, we're at somewhere mentally expensive.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'd take someone.
There, if you can't afford to pay.
Yeah.
Would you pay the full thing?
Yeah, I'd pay the full thing.
Yeah.
But I think for a first date, I
Mm.
would.
Yeah. I think I've done it that. So me and my boyfriend, I went up to see him in Manchester.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'd paid for my train ticket
Mm.
and then basically didn't pay for a single thing that entire weekend. Because,
Well, I guess it makes sense if it's even, isn't it?
well, I don't think it was even. I definitely
You don't
think
think
he
so?
spent a bit
He's
more.
paid
But
more.
that was fine. He was on a lot more than I was at the time.
Do you think that made you like him a little bit more because he just?
Well, he
Paid
just
for
was
you.
like, well, you've made the effort to come stay. Because also, it was a bit awkward, right? I was still living at my parents'. He
Yeah.
was living alone in Manchester. So it was,
Yeah.
who are you going to
Go to.
go to? I know,
Yeah.
like, in an ideal world, he would have maybe come down here. But then he would have just been meeting my parents as the first time of us meeting as well. It was very,
Yeah. That's.
very awkward. So it was so much nicer for me to make the effort to go see him. But then he made up for it by
By
then
actually like paying for stuff.
being all very sweet and treating me, and it was very nice. I felt like a princess. To be honest, I'm sure I did pay for something, but
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think it's also different depending on what the date is.
Yeah.
Like if you're just going on a coffee date, I feel like anyone can pick up that.
Yeah.
Like, but it's still nice to be like, oh yeah, don't worry, I got it. But you know, I don't think it matters.
No. I also like the idea of whoever asked the person out.
Yeah, you've said this.
Yeah. Then
Yeah.
they get because if I've gone, oh, we should go out for coffee sometime, and then you go, no, I'd like to take you out for dinner. Well, then you're changing the plan, so you pay the.
Yeah, true.
Your,
But if you wanted to go, you'd want to go.
yeah, but it was your plan, so you pay.
So I have to pay now. It's punishment. That's
I
what you're
guess
saying.
so. But then if I'd have said, oh, I want to go out for dinner, then I'd be willing to pay for it.
For the dinner, because you're like
Or
initiating
50-50,
it.
or...
Mate, 50-50 is such an easy way to do it.
I know, right?
It makes so much more sense.
50-50 is easy.
Would you ever change it depending on how the date went? Like if you haven't decided at the beginning, let's say it's dinner, right?
Yeah.
Let's just standard it's dinner. You start the dinner and you're like, you know what, we'll 50-50 this. But then if it's like really, really good, are you more inclined to want to pay?
No, it'd be almost the other way. That I'd be
Do you
like,
think so?
they're paying because they've asked me
What?
out.
Really?
And then if it got... Actually, you know what it would be? If the date went worse, I'd be more inclined to pay 50-50 than then let them treat me, because then I don't owe them anything.
Oh, okay.
So if I was like, this date is bad,
So you
and
don't
I
have-
don't want to see you again, and I don't
Right.
want to,
So
like, I don't want you to feel like you deserve anything.
You're
from
not in
treating
debt.
me.
yeah.
I would be 50-50 and be like,
Yeah.
oh well, like, we're splitting our ways now, like, so sorry. But if they were like, no, I want to pay for the whole thing, I want to treat you, and I thought the date went well, then I'd be more inclined to accept that, because like either I'll get them back on the next day, or I don't mind them feeling like they're owed a kiss or something, because I would want to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So I would.
I think from my perspective, the better the date goes, the more I want to pay. But like, not in like a I'm paying you. You know, this is so cool. Let's
Yeah.
just treat it.
No, I know, but the other side is then I owe you something.
So true.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So then I'm like, no, if this date is going badly, I don't want to owe you, like you to owe. I don't want to owe you anything.
Yeah. I think that's definitely like a healthy way to look at it, because then you're just equal from the beginning, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's never like one way.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
like you're in the middle from the beginning.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's.
Yeah, I like that.
But yeah, so, and then our last one was the parents.
Splitting the bill with parents.
Yeah, how would you do it with parents?
So when I thought about this topic, I thought not necessarily splitting the bill, but I thought about an experience where I got my first job and I was able to buy my mum dinner for the first time.
Right.
Like that type of thing.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
I think it makes me feel like an adult because obviously, like, been out to dinner with my parents so many times, and then being able to turn it around and be like, I'm getting you dinner. This is what has happened.
Yeah, like slightly different, but I go and get my nails done with my mum. And when I was unemployed like a year or so ago, my mum was paying for my nails.
Yeah.
Because she liked the habit, so
it was just a nice thing to do.
Yeah, so she picked up the bill because I was like, I have no money anymore, while I was searching for a new job. And for Mother's Day, I just was like, I'm going to buy your nails. Aww. And it was nice.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
Sorry about the technical glitch, everyone.
Just a minor technical error.
Just a minor one.
The plug wasn't turned on to charge stuff. Anyways,
back to it.
We're back.
Paying the bill.
Paying the bill. You have never treated your parents. That's what you were saying.
I don't remember. I don't, which is bad. Which probably means we
Well, that was my whole example, that I've treated my parents.
I know, I've treated my sister and her partner, but I've definitely bought my parents, like, drinks and things, like, at cocktail restaurants and stuff. But I don't know if we've done
never
like
picked
a full
up the
meal.
bill.
I don't think so. Which we probably should.
I hope they're not listening.
No, they probably are. But I will treat them one day. I'm sure I have.
Yeah.
I don't think I wouldn't have.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, that's splitting the bill.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Friends, dating, and parents.
Yeah.
All a bit different.
All a bit different. All a bit
circumstantial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people can be weirdly touchy about it.
Yeah.
But I get it, because also if I only got like a starter because I wasn't hungry, and then people got like 3 courses, and then we're like, we're splitting it 50-50, I'd be like, no. But I'd never ask anyone to do that.
No,
it's like, not. If it's roughly, then I'm happy to split it. Even if I'm out of a few pounds. I don't care. But that's a fortunate position I'm in. Anyways, what do we want to talk about next? Do we want to talk about moving back into with our parents? Because last episode we spoke about moving out, and all of the different circumstances that we've experienced with moving out. But moving back home is something that no kid wants to do once they've moved out. But in this economy, sometimes
it's much more common nowadays.
Yeah, it really is.
It didn't used to be.
And
I don't think.
I think it's also got a pretty rough stigma around it of like you're lazy and you're just living with your parents, but it's not. It's money. Realistically, do you have to? If you're happy and you're saving money to then buy somewhere, or you're like just not got enough of an income to then move out, it wouldn't be worth it, then why should you?
Yeah.
Because
I think a lot of it is based around money.
Yeah, it's all money focused. Realistically, no one wants to live with their parents as an adult because it gets complicated. As close as I am with my parents, when I was dating before my boyfriend, like even my boyfriend, the second time we ever met, he was walking through the doors of my family home. I was like, that's awkward. I was just like, this is our second, like, obviously
feels mega serious.
I know. And I was like, he'd come down to because I'd gone up to him, but obviously he was in Manchester, so it's 4 hours away, so it's not like he can come down and then
just easily
and then go back on the same
it's not
day.
A day trip. It's not I'll come down, have dinner with you, and then drive back up.
And it'd be silly.
If it is like fair play,
my god, no, but it'd be silly to then get a hotel as well when like realistically my parents were chill with him staying. But
to be fair, I can understand why some maybe wouldn't be. Like it does.
It's the second time I've known this person. You know, it's not like
it's not
a serious relationship.
No.
I could see why parents would be like, not in my house.
Yeah.
But also, how else was he gonna stay other than forking out for a hotel? So that was a bit awkward because it was like, well, I'm like, obviously I had spoken to him for a while, but also it's still early days and you're meeting my parents.
I think living in general like socially anyway, it's quite difficult when you're at home.
Yeah, my parents, well, my mum especially, she always, like, we've got the kind of relationship where if I'm going out, she'll be like, oh, where are you going? And if, like, I was going on a date, I'd be like, it's really awkward, and I don't necessarily want to tell you, but...
No.
Because, like...
But I think there's difference between that and... I don't know, it is weird.
Yeah.
It is weird, because sometimes I'd want to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Especially if you don't know.
Yeah.
You're not
but
sure
also,
about the person.
Big thing, safety.
Yeah.
Make sure at least one person knows where you are.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just...
At all times.
Just do it. Like, just make sure.
One thing, knows. I know it sounds controlling, like, to some people they'd be uncomfortable with it, but I've never really had an issue with it, is my parents have me on Find My Friends.
Yeah.
And because I'm quite an open book with them, I've always told them where I'm going, even if it was, like, on a date. Like, when I went up to Manchester, my parents knew who I was going to see and, like, where I was going.
Yeah.
So I think I sent my dad the address because it just helped him ease his mind.
Your dad was like 10 miles behind you.
Yeah, like meeting this stranger that they didn't know. But that's always made me feel more safe, even if it's. I guess some people would find it a bit like overbearing that your parents always know who you
can
are,
feel controlling for sure,
especially if you're not comfortable with telling your parents where you're going. I've just been fortunate enough that I
think it
cared.
depends on the parents. Like if you've got someone who's always asking why you're somewhere without you providing information first, that's when it starts to get a little bit more complicated and a little bit more difficult with Find My Friend or Find My Phone. Find My Friend, what's it called?
I don't know. I think it says Find My, so I assume
Find My. Yeah, anyway,
that's
when it gets difficult, is when if you're somewhere and they're being nosy and they go, where are you? Or like, why are you there? That's
why are you in this place?
Like, I'm willing to give this part of my life up, the not knowing, like, but if you're always on it and you're asking me about it, and then you're starting to question it, that's my freedom kind of disappearing slowly.
It's for a safety thing. It's always been nice that I haven't necessarily had to go home from somewhere and then remember to text my dad. He can, if he's worried that whether I made it home or not, he can just go on and check, and he knows
respecting boundaries, man. That's what needs to happen.
But yeah, if they were constantly like, oh, why are you here? To be honest, my mum's done that anyways, but I just am fortunate enough that I don't see it as like that kind of like controlling. She's genuinely curious. And she'll be like, oh, what are you doing there? And I'll tell her. But
I mean, all you have to do is respect boundaries. Like, it's not that difficult, really. But I think that's one of the big things that happens when you move home, is people have got to I think there's a difficult balance to find between they are still your parents. Yeah,
but you're also moving back as an adult now. Not.
But you're moving into their house.
Yeah.
That is the other bit.
So it's their house, their rules,
it is their house. Their house, their rules, but how far does that go?
I think that's a really, really tricky question because, for instance, this summer I'm moving back home but my boyfriend is coming with. So it's the two of us moving back to save for a house.
Yeah.
Obviously, my boyfriend's a bit older. He hasn't lived with
other people.
Well, he's lived with like a few flatmates, but he actually, when I met him, he was living alone, and since then he's moved back in with housemates, which it was definitely for me, but probably wasn't his ideal scenario.
Yeah.
To then now go from that to then living with parents and not even his parents, like
it is a bit strange.
It must be really weird for him, but it's just a step we want to take to then be able to save money and buy a house quicker, because obviously.
I mean,
you can't rent and
financially
save as much
it makes
as you
sense.
need. Yeah.
But I guess there's also the factor of paying rent to parents. So
my parents have been very lovely.
Generosity.
Because we're saving for a house, we'll only be paying for like our groceries and stuff like that. But when I was living here before, I paid, I think it was like 10% of my salary. Which isn't like actually that much when you think about it. Like if you're getting like $1,200 a month, that's like
if you're thinking about how much you should be spending on accommodation or living,
exactly. Like my
living
first
expenses.
flat, it was like I say like $600 a month, or $650 because it was me and my flatmate. I think.
And that was still splitting something. Wasn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah, that was still splitting it. But my parents were asking me for like £100 or something like that
which is really generous.
a month, and that's.
But see, at that point, do you think that paying money or contributing towards the bills, does that then grant you an extra degree of freedom? Do you think it should?
Yeah, I think.
Because
really
if you're
depends
not
on-
paying something, then it is entirely their house. Do you know what I mean?
But if I'm
But if
then
you're
paying to stay there, then I should be able to, like, I'm essentially renting it. So
Yeah.
like it's my I have.
So
have my own
the things that
freedom.
I'm thinking of here are like things like, doing dishes, or like coming home late, making noise, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I think making noise is genuinely just respecting the people around you.
mm-hmm.
For example, both me and my boyfriend game,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
but and I used to have fights. Well, I say fights. Like my parents used to tell me off for like
Gaming
being
too
too
late.
loud, too
Mhm.
late, and I'd be like, I didn't, because you've then got headphones on, you don't know
Mhm.
being that loud. But we've actually decided that we're moving our PCs to this room, actually. All four of us, because it'll be my sister and her boyfriend moving in as well.
At the same time.
Yeah. All four of us will be working from home in here.
Offices.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's intense, actually.
Yeah. And so I think it's going to be
Long
a bit
process.
squash.
That's gonna be a long process. That.
Because my sister finishes uni this year.
Mm.
So I think her
I'm
partner will...
de-threading my entire sock.
You
This is
are.
really annoying.
There we go. But my sister and her partner are also now like in a place where they may want to save, and she's coming back. She doesn't know what placement she's going to get or whatever. So at the moment, the plan is she'll come back here. The four of us will be working in one room, and then
Are you excited about that?
I think it'll be okay because I only work 2 days a week at home. So
Light work.
yeah,
Easy.
3 days a week I'm in the office.
Yeah.
I'm really
So
going into my own life
I was gonna
for
say,
no reason.
but going back to the point, your parents are essentially giving up a lot of space.
So much space.
So when you're moving back in with your parents, the difficulty for them being that they should really have their own space and their own life.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. Without you being in the way. But now
Yeah.
you've come back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of awkward.
They talk about that they'll try and do some like weekends away because otherwise they're
Otherwise, they're gonna.
gonna get sick of us.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So it's like they're trying to get out of our hair, but it's their house, so maybe we should try and get out of their hair.
Are you the arsehole?
Am I? Probably.
I think we should do some of those.
Oh yeah. So
We have some related to
I've
moving
got some
in.
related to moving in. Should we do one? Should we do this one? Oh, okay. So this is related to paying rent. Am I the asshole for moving out after my parents told me to pay rent? So this story
Read it.
happened almost a year ago, back when I told my friends about this, and they said I should post it here because they were split 50-50. So I'm 19, male, moved out of my parents' house about a year ago. There was nothing wrong in my life. I had a good upbringing and I loved being home. I had a lot of friends and my parents were loving, or so I thought. Anyways, I was going to have a big 18th birthday, as it was the legal age where I live, Australia, and means you go from boy to man, child to adult, same in the UK. I had a venue rented out and I had family and friends coming from all over to celebrate with me. We had a blast that night and I had my first drink and almost made it my last. I don't remember anything from that night, and from the photos I've seen, it looked like I had a good night, so I was happy. Okay. A few days after that night, my parents sat me down to have a talk. They told me that I'm a man now and that I've been working a lot of hours and yet they haven't received anything. They told me that as soon as I started working, they expected me to help pay rent. Obviously, I didn't know any of that because I didn't get told. They told me that I should have known better, and now that I'm 18, they expect me to help with rent. Honestly, I don't mind helping them if they asked. I was 16 when I got my first job at McDonald's, and I'm now working in construction. But they made it seem like I was in the wrong for not giving them money. And I get where they are coming from, but from a young boy's perspective, all I saw was money, and all I saw was a triple-digit paycheck that I wanted to spend straight away. Anyway, I told them I'd start helping them from now on, but it wasn't good enough for them. They told me that I had to pay them from all the money that they should have been given when I first started working, which was almost £10,000. I said no, flat out, and they got mad. They told me that either I pay rent and pay them back what they are owed, or I move out and find my own place. So that's what I did. I moved out a few days after my friend and to my friend's house for a bit until I found my own apartment, and have been living there for about 8 to 10 months. As soon as I moved out, I got bombarded by texts and calls saying that I disrespected them by not paying them what they were owed and making it harder for them to live now that they don't have someone washing or doing their laundry and taking out the rubbish and all those other stuff. They are both in their early 40s and are more than capable of doing it. My friends asked me why I never introduced them to my parents and told them what I've told you. Some of them already hated my parents, and some of them said that it was my duty as their son. I honestly don't know, and I had to give them money or help them out. I would have if they asked, but I feel like they just disrespected and tried to gaslight me into giving them money. So he needs to know if he's the asshole.
There is so much to unpack there. But my first thought immediately is that his parents are in their early 40s.
Yeah.
And they're worried about doing the washing up.
Yeah. Sounds like they
and
haven't
helping
done it
with that
for ages. If he's the one that's doing it now, they're struggling without
days.
him.
Your child's not your servant,
No.
for a start. Also, your child isn't your long-term investment. I'm going to get extra money plan.
No.
Okay, so right, let's unpack this. So
We
only
have a couple minutes.
we have a couple minutes. How long?
2 minutes or a minute.
Real speedy.
Okay, go.
Basically, they turn 18, right? They get asked to pay rent. Very reasonable,
Yeah.
especially if they've already got a job. If they're working, that is so reasonable,
Yeah.
right? That's fine.
Yeah.
But even a tiny amount, that makes sense. But to then claim previous is mental.
Yeah, I think that's crazy.
Just different levels of mental, especially if when the kid found out, when he had got the first job, if he wasn't told that he was going to have to pay rent eventually, why don't they just ask him to pay it immediately?
Also, I think just go when you're 18. If it was the 18 thing, you're a man now. When you turn 18 or on his birthday or around his birthday, just go, look, you're an adult now. We would like you to start helping. And if his response is no, then I kind of get it. Move
that
out.
That does
then.
make sense. Yeah.
You're earning. It's not fair.
Sort of test the response instead of just demanding
but
something.
I think to pay back isn't fair because
no.
Or to assume.
I think that's just ridiculous. If he's been earning money before, but he didn't know that some of it was going to go towards rent, and then they've gone, no, have rent, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't think he's the asshole at all.
No, me neither.
I think if you're in your early 40s and you've had a child who's now 18 and you're expecting them to still do laundry, helping around the house, chores, and pay backwards 10 months of rent, whatever it was.
Yeah, I think so.
10 grand or something, wasn't it? They're not the arsehole. Can confirm, not the arsehole. The parents are the arsehole.
Yeah, the parents are the assholes. Anyways,
Also,
I think it might have
we're done.
ended, but
Good job, guys.
see you later, guys.
Sorry if there were technical difficulties. It might happen again. No guarantees.
Probably will. Anyways, thank you so much.
Episode 4 done.
Woohoo!